I went through my spiritual awakening, and I just thought that story has to be shared because there is so much more people out there who struggle like I did, and I need to tell them, listen, there is a way out. There is a way out. So flight or fight. I was never sure what's going to happen next day. Is my dad come back home drunk? Is he going to beat my mom up? Because I was diagnosed with PTSD later in adulthood. So I grew up in survival mode. It was always a danger. We constantly been taught Earth is a school. It's a training ground. That I was drinking for a few days, for a few weeks, nearly killed myself through drinking a few times. Actually, my mom was in the puddle of blood and we didn't have fun at home, so I had to barefoot on the snow in Poland, minus 20 degrees, run to the phone box to call police because...
How old are you? Hello, lovely ones. Welcome to
Fiora's World podcast. Hello, friends.
So we're going to just have a good old chat, aren't we, about the magic of you, because you are incredible.
Oh, thank you so much.
So where do we start?
Where
do we start? You are incredible. And there's so many things I'd like to talk to you about, but I think we should start with, talk to me about Fiora. Where did Fiora come from? Where did that magic come from?
It's a long story. I'm going to try to be as fast as I can. It's just basically, I've been always a singer. Singing was a big part of my life since early childhood. It was almost like a therapeutic process for me because I used to sing everywhere, anywhere. And considering that I wasn't from like musical background family, that was pretty surprising to everyone where I have it from. Because I used to sing for hours. It was my safe space. I sort of felt like I'm merging into universe when I used to sing.
I love that.
And basically no outside world would exist.
It sounds a bit out of body experience. Like,
oh yeah, I definitely had out of body experience when I was like, I don't know, 10, 9. Even like, but I would still carry on doing a task. So my mom used to give us like Saturday tasks. You hoover, you dust, you wash dishes, whatever. So I used to like hoovering because I would resonate with the sound of the vacuum cleaner.
I like a hoovering session.
And I was harmonizing and
See, I don't do that, but I wish I did.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So you even found music in everyday tasks?
Yes, or if I had to wash dishes, I would match the sound of the tap water.
Wow.
Yeah, so I used to do that because I hated to do the chores I was given to do, and the time flew faster. So I kind of disconnected from the chore because I was singing, and I was doing things which I was told to do. But that made me think, why am I like this? Like, why my sister is not like that?
Did it feel like a gift?
Yeah. Sort of, but being that young, I didn't know then and what it is exactly. But yeah, like my sister and my brother, they was like tone deaf. They were tone deaf. They couldn't even sing. And I was like to my sister, remember that story when we used to go down south on the train? And I was like, do you hear that music in your head? And she was like, no. So basically, I was a little bit different. But then that love to singing, because it was a massive love, it was an only love basically, because I had a pretty difficult childhood, made me to leave my hometown, move back to the south of Poland, study music, and I knew since then I need to be a singer. But
it was like a life calling.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was like a life calling. You have this for a reason, and you have to just use it. So first I was just doing songs, not very related to anything maybe, just singing, one singing school, second singing school. I was an opera singer back in days as well.
Wow. Do you know what? Hearing your voice, I can believe that you were an opera singer.
That's so nice. Thank
Because
you.
you know how to belt out a good song. I mean, you do. You're incredible. And also, opera's very storytelling-esque, isn't it? It is storytelling.
It is.
So that fits actually with where you've kind of gone with Fiora, I think.
Yeah,
and I think you storytell like a poet.
I'm using this opera voice a little bit more now in Fiora tracks, which are unreleased yet, and that's the plan for future, to just kind of put it in there a little bit.
I love you like to experiment.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That seems like a big part of Fiora. Evolution, experimenting, not holding yourself in any one set form. It's almost like there's so much. It's a very mutable kind of energy, like you're ready to expand and grow and change.
And I feel like all evolvement, development comes from experimenting.
Absolutely.
Because you learn from trying new things. Yeah. And from failing many times.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that kind of. So for me, Fiora is full of like so much light and magic and beautifulness. Just much like you. You do emulate that. You give those vibes off, and it is just a very potent thing to be around you in your presence, but also to listen to your music. But you've just talked about the fact that we have to evolve and grow, and things haven't always been easy, and you have had struggles, haven't you, of a very personal nature that have, I think, from what you've discussed with me, have kind of really informed and helped create where your music has gone and where you are now.
Yes.
You chat to me a little bit about some of those struggles.
Fiora brand is very much related to my story, my growing up, and how I came into this point of my life today. I went through my spiritual awakening, and I just thought that story has to be shared because there is so much more people out there who struggle like I did. And I need to tell them, listen, there is a way out. Yeah. There is a way out. So basically, as I've mentioned, I grew up in Poland. I was born in Gdańsk, and I grew up in a small city, Malbork, when everybody knows everybody. I'm not saying it's anything against small cities, villages. I actually love that place. Yeah. So, I love a village, good village.
But we all know that. We all know that feeling of everyone knowing your own business and everyone that kind of small mentality.
My dad was an alcoholic, and he was very abusive towards my mom and towards my siblings, not to me, which is surprising. I always was thinking, and I always mentioned that in any interview, that my dad never actually hurt me. I was like I had that protection shield. I don't know why. I was a favorite daughter. He just saw my special side, I guess. But my mom was triggering him badly because she had her own struggles as well. She was, on the other hand, very narcissistic personality, and very, very manipulative and angry person. So they were not a good match, and because they haven't put energy into healing, that never was going to work. But we as children had to watch all of that. Which, when
you're sponges, aren't you, as children as well? You absorb everything.
So I grew up basically what I understand now, survival mode.
Yeah.
Flight or fight. I was never sure what's going to happen next day. Is my dad come back home drunk? Is he going to beat my mom up? Am I have to go and run to the phone box to call police? Because that was the case at some point. My mom was in the puddle of blood, and we didn't have phone at home, so I had to barefoot on the snow in Poland, minus 20 degrees, run to the phone box to call police. Because
how old are you?
8-year-old.
Wow.
Yeah, I was.
My youngest is 8, and the idea of her doing that is just.
Can you imagine?
No, I can't. It just seems so just.
That's one of my earliest
yeah.
memory, because I don't remember my childhood that much, but that's apparently a case with PTSD. because I was diagnosed with PTSD later in adulthood. So I grew up in survival mode. It was always a danger. Yeah.
That actually makes sense then when you were talking about the finding music in. I know you said some of that was to get through some of the boredom and the mundanity of doing the chores, but I wonder if some of that as well was some of the protection, some of you kind of that light kind of trying to come through and
it
say,
gave me a
"Where can I feel
safety."
safe?" Yeah,
because I didn't feel
hear
safe. So I used to sit down on the windowsill, look into the stars and sing. And it was just so natural for me. And I felt like I'm protected.
Yeah.
I can't describe even that feeling. It's just amazing. I felt that love overflowing, and that there is so. And I always was like looking far ahead, and I knew there is somewhere better world. Just that feeling, because you know, now I know that the higher self, the universe, whatever you can call it, you want to call it, talks to you through feelings.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
it sounds like you were very intuitive and in tune with
I
that
didn't
side
know
of
what
things.
it is.
Well, this is it. It's interesting, isn't it? Because it's until we kind of get to a place in our life where we're ready to either really fully let it in or we can see it for what it is. I think there's always that potential in everyone. Don't you? There's always
and
that
it was sort of like saying to me, don't worry, this is temporary. You're going somewhere far.
Yeah.
You're going to leave this.
There's a higher plan, there's more. There's more than
and
just this.
it gave me that feeling of you are safe, I'm protecting you.
Yeah, that's lovely.
Amazing,
which we all
isn't
need
it?
and we all want, but particularly when you're younger as well. I mean, that must have really helped carry you forwards throughout difficult times. So can we touch a little bit upon alcohol? Because that was quite from what we've chatted about, I feel like that was perhaps a crutch or a way for you to try and process what you had experienced.
Yeah, so later on in adulthood, because finally I actually packed my bags from Marburg. I didn't add actually that I've struggled with being bullied at school as well, quite a lot. And so there was no kind of human protection from any side.
I see.
Like I didn't have many friends. My dad died when I was 14 with alcohol-related problems. And then because I didn't have fancy clothes, because I was what was considered ugly. That's what I believe until I was 26 that I'm ugly. Yes, because it's all programming you're getting from your parents, from your siblings, from your school friends. So I was programmed that I'm ugly. So I behaved like an ugly person. I fought like an ugly person. And I didn't care how I look. In fact, I didn't have money for nice clothes or things which my friends from high school did have. So I stood out quite big time, and people laughed at me. Boys used to spit on me at the corridor in school, and girls used to beat me up. I was that sort of person, But I had my little world with poetry and writing music to poetry. So like librarians, women which work in the school library, they were my best friends.
I love that. I love that though, like mini guardian angels of the library. So do you like literature? I need to just ask you that as you just said that. Is literature a source of inspiration? Was that a source of inspiration for you?
Yes, there was a poet who was very ill, and she used to write knowing that she's going to die soon. And I really like that. I really like that end of life poetry because people get very much wisdom at that point. They have nothing to lose.
Absolutely.
And it's just I'm not happy that she was ill. She had a heart condition but that made her so sensitive that she seen things which normal people didn't see.
But that's kind of the vibe I get with you. I feel that that's very similar. The fact that you just have that kind of intuitive just knowing that I think I get the feel that you always knew that things were going to go into this
Yeah, I
direction.
had deep feeling of that,
Yeah.
but just because of my feeling of being protected from somewhere.
Yeah.
And I know from where. It's from God, from universe, and not separating these two things together. I'm just not into human-made religion.
Yeah, okay.
But the universe,
Yeah.
it's one for everyone.
Yeah.
And we are all part of universe.
100%.
What I was saying, so with all that baggage, I still decided to pack my stuff, and I found singing school down in Poznan, which is like a sort of middle of Poland, west. I near Berlin, basically. There's only border between Berlin and Poznan. Big city, exciting. I'm going for adventure.
So a big deal.
Oh wow! Yes, I was from small city. Everybody just knew me and knew me as this dirty, ugly girl who is nobody basically. So what I had to risk, I had nothing to risk.
Yeah.
I love singing. I'm going after my love. So I found this school. I was actually offered a job because I was finishing high school back in North, in my hometown. I had really good grades, like first.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was offered a job, but I refused that.
Okay.
I refused that. It was in like sort of equivalent of English council, home office, HMRC, that kind of office job.
Okay. But you chose to pursue.
Yes, but I didn't have much support because, my mom never had money. My dad died. So I used to work in the little newspaper kiosk near to tram station.
Okay.
Yeah, selling tickets for tram. That was.
I bet that was quite fun though. People watching. I bet for me, I don't know, for me, for like a storytelling perspective, I bet that must have been so interesting. Seeing different people.
So I found different jobs to support myself. That was like from 6 a.m. to 1 p.m. I used to work there, and then I used to go for singing classes. That was my job. That was my life from like age of 20 to about 26.
So very hard working.
Yeah.
Long days, I'm guessing.
Yeah, long days. But then I found England as well at some point. And I used to come here to London to work into some sort of summer break. When you have a summer break between school terms, like it's quite long in Poland. It's from end of June till beginning of October.
Oh, wow.
So for that period of time, I would work 2 jobs in London, and I would earn enough money to take it back with me to Poland and support my life there.
Okay.
And so, but that was first like digging into new culture, very different than what was happening in Poland. But I was sort of like, I see myself like a leaf on the wind, like nowhere to find my place.
Waiting to find where you belong.
I didn't belong. And basically the PTSD was still active. So I was easily triggered by like problems in life. I used to get anxious quite quickly. But also being a very young woman on my own in big city, I used to start party a lot.
Okay.
And then when the alcohol started, it wasn't a problem. It was just like a normal night out. Yeah.
Okay.
But I used to always drink more than others until I actually had fell.
Okay. So you pushed it a little bit further.
But I wouldn't drink from morning, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I do. So was that to do with social, like being around socially? Was that in some way a form of protection, drinking, do you think? Or
it gave me that sort of relief.
Okay. It was like a surrender where you don't have to
and I
feel
also found out that I'm actually not ugly at that point because I was very popular with boys.
I can imagine.
And boys always bought me a drink, for example. Yeah,
Okay.
But it still wasn't a problem. It was kind of normal. Although now I feel like any amount of alcohol is not good for you.
Yeah.
Not good for you. It kills your brain cells and it blocks your channel, energy channels.
Yeah.
yeah, you feel awful next day after drinking 9,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, definitely.
So then I got to know one male through that party. He's called Bartek. If you're watching this podcast, I say hello. I hope you're well. And then he was a very traumatized person with his own problems. And I started to drink next day from morning with him. I'm not blaming him for that in any way. It was just...
But there's a bit of companionship around that drinking.
Around drinking.
Yeah.
I've always attracted to myself slightly person with problems.
Yeah.
With problems. So that was, you attract what you carry.
Absolutely, you do.
You attract to yourself. Or because universe teaches you lessons for that as well. We constantly being taught Earth is a school. It's a training ground. Yeah. And we feel like problems happening for us to punish us. Why this happened to me? But this is a victim mode.
Yeah.
Why this happened to me? I'm so poor.
Which is an easy mode to go into, isn't it?
Oh, yes.
As humans,
most of the society is in victim. You always blame other people. But if you shift your mindset now, after I know what I know, before then I was very much in victim mode. When you shift your mindset and actually you start to think, what's the situation wants to teach me?
Yeah.
Because it's every situation is a lesson, and things don't happen by coincidence. So I met Bartek for a reason, and my drinking evolved in a really bad way to the point, and I'm skipping now years, that I was drinking for a few days, for a few weeks, and nearly killed myself through drinking a few times.
See, looking at you right now, I can't. The idea of that being a thing just feels so far away from where you are now. But that must have, at the time, been an absolutely terrifying place and state to have been in.
Yeah. And I now understand why I did that. It was the programming which I carried. That's why I've mentioned my home, that my mom used to beat me up. My dad was abusive towards her. I used to see terrifying, like from film scenes when I was very little. That was the survival mode, and bullied at school, feeling not worthy, like you don't belong, like you just the worst human than others. That belief will not get you far in life, basically. But that's what I was programmed to, because
it's all
where we grew up,
learned, isn't it, really?
who we hang on with, that's the programming in subconscious mind, which actually affects our life, affects our way of thinking. If you think in a certain way, you will make the certain way choices. From certain way choices, you will have certain experiences. These experiences will shape your next choices and what partners you choose, what jobs you go for, how worthy you feel, how much you love yourself. I didn't love myself.
No.
I thought I'm just a bad human, or like, not even bad, because I knew I'm not like a bad person, but I thought I'm worse. That's definitely it. I'm worse for some reason. Everybody else have better life than me.
Yeah. Did you carry much frustration and anger? Was that ever a feeling for you? Did you carry those feelings attached?
Oh, yes. I could be an angry person, but because my mom was a very angry person.
Yeah.
And I didn't know anything different. So that when the alcohol addiction became really difficult, I thought I'm going to die. Actually, I wished I died at some point, because, coming back from hospital, after my longest relapse was 6 weeks, drinking non-stop. And I'm sorry, I'm maybe terrifying you here.
No, I'm just
6 weeks drinking non-stop.
Yeah.
Well, at some point I would drink whiskey straight from the bottle, because nothing else would give me a hit anymore. Okay. Like cider was nothing. Yeah. A bottle of wine was like a juice.
So I guess you get to a place of like intolerance to kind of,
Yes.
it needs to be, I understand.
Yes,
I get
you
that,
had
yeah.
to be stronger than what I've already had in my bloodstream. And so in hospital, they would get me back physically to a normal state, but not mentally.
Of course, yeah.
No.
This is it. They're not going to know. I guess, yeah. There's a lack of. There is always a lack of like that nurturing and that alignment, isn't there? Of
Yes.
the mental and
So
the physical.
basically, they would keep me for a week in hospital. When our half dad was brought there, I've often tried to escape when I got into my senses, kind of, because the anxiety was so high that I still wanted to drink. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
I still wanted to drink. In fact, I've escaped a couple of times hospital, and like I had like security guards chasing me on the corridor and things like that. Like really, really crazy stories. But that's what alcohol does to you. It's just the anxiety hits and you feel so anxious, you're shaking, you are in panic attacks, you can't breathe. That kind of feeling, and you feel like something terrible is gonna happen, they're gonna kill you. You have hallucinations on top of that. Because it's not normal anxiety, like you feel stressed before going in front of camera or on stage. That's chill.
Yeah.
It's 1,000 times more stronger anxiety and panic attacks that you just want to run. It's flight or fight. Run. And
that protection mode.
And you just want to drink to self-medicate yourself. To take away that anxiety.
So is that what alcohol was for you? Was it a format of self-medication?
Self-medication.
Yeah.
Yes. So coming back from hospital after 6 weeks of drinking, my house was destroyed, carpet burns, sickness everywhere.
Yeah.
Cigarette butts, bottles, cans, whatever you can imagine. I used to clean it and cry. Literally cry. And asking God for help or just to take me away because I don't want my life to be like that. I just didn't know how I made all of that. I mean, like, I didn't remember anything. And
I was going to ask you, actually, did you kind of feel in your body when all these things were happening? Do you know what I mean? When I say
probably
that, like,
at the time, you are numb.
Yeah.
Alcohol numbs you, and it's terrifying. And
so I guess afterwards, like you say, when you're talking about cleaning up and feeling all those feelings and like, how have I done this? Is there almost like a sort of disconnect to what you had done post having done it, if that makes sense? That feeling of almost being in your body afterwards and being like, not recognising everything.
You're coming aware back from hospital to your destroyed house where it smells, it looks disgusting. I was sick so many times seeing this picture and just cleaning that and just going through what have I done, the guilt, the shame. It's shame.
So where was music at this point in your life? Was it still there? Was it present?
It was definitely still there, but it was hard to maintain. It was on and off. So because I was a binge drinker, each time I had a relapse, I would have to stop everything, but because I wasn't able to do anything. I had to pick up my life, pick up the pieces where I left before the relapse. And it just, there was no mental capacity for me to actually carry on with music. Although I recorded some as Kinga K back in days. And then, but that was going nowhere, basically, because you have to put energy, time into building something. And I did it on and off. I built something and then I ruined it. Built again and I ruined it. So my life wasn't going anywhere. If all wasn't going in good direction, definitely. So every 3 to 6 months, the talking therapies, the rehabs I was in, they sort of helped me to make the change, but the change wouldn't last long. I would get excited that I'm getting better. I would start making changes. I would really, because I didn't want to be like that, Anna. I just want to like say that clearly that I didn't like alcohol. I didn't want to be an alcoholic.
Yeah.
I wanted to heal. I just couldn't find how, because it was stronger than me at that point.
Yeah.
I was locked into addiction. In fact, I know now that I've created neural pathways in my brain that actually were working and creating that sort of reality for me. So every time something bad would happen, I would argue with my ex-husband. He would trigger me big time. Not blaming him. It was just throwing me.
Well, I bet triggers were a big part of life
Oh
for you.
yeah. I got triggered by situation.
And it's hard, isn't it, to stop the triggers?
Yeah, and every trigger, I would just run into shop for a bottle of wine, and on that way, I was just promising to myself, it will be only one glass, couple maybe, never be one glass.
No.
Never. I finished one bottle, I would go and buy two more, and then buy five more. Then I would take taxi middle of the night and drive to night shop and buy a bottle of whiskey. It was no stop button for me until my body couldn't carry on any more toxins,
Yeah.
and I would lose my consciousness, and I would be fine. So many times people found me unconscious on the street.
Was there one defining moment of an incident that made you kind of think, this has to stop, or I have to try and find the way to kind of heal this?
It was many moments like that. Many moments I was just, this has to stop because I'm going to die, basically. I ended up with skull fracture on my 35th birthday in a hospital. That was 28th of July. I was with the skull fracture in hospital. And I was crying my eyes out, my head out.
Yeah.
And I was like, this has to just finish. But I've tried everything. I've tried EMDR, talking therapies, hypnosis. I've tried twice in rehab. So where is the help?
Yeah.
Because I'm engaging with services.
yeah.
I'm going to AA meetings.
Yeah.
I'm going to forward leads. I have a key worker. But it was just sort of, how did you drink that this week? No, very good. How did you feel? Good. And it was just like ticking boxes and checking my scores. Where do I fit?
Did it lack personable kind of connection? Do you think that's
and
something
I
that
had a
was
hole
needed?
in my heart, which need filling, and I was mentally broken. Physically was again everything fine with me. It was just that sort of insecurity and feeling of not belonging, which I carried from very young years, and that sort of like, I don't have family, for example. That was a big one because my parents died, both of them, and I never had a good relationship with my siblings. So I felt very lonely.
Yeah.
And sort of my partners at that time mirrored that loneliness as well. It wasn't really real good connections with my partners. And I felt like I wasn't understood with my addiction as well.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm assuming as well, you need that level of support from people, loved ones, and the people that are closest around you. So if you're isolated from not having, obviously, the family connections that so many people have, and it just is a given for them to not have that, you really are alone. And then if the partners you've been choosing are not positive role models or can connect.
My ex-husband didn't understand my addiction and was treating me badly for it, like I'm something worse. And I felt like I'm something worse. And and when my clients, for example, asking, "Oh, do you go for Christmas to see your family in Poland?" No, I'm not going because I don't have family. And
but right there, that's a trigger, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's
it's a trigger. I'm
trigger.
lonely. This is something worse, that you don't have family.
No. So speaking of triggers, I'm thinking and talking about all of these really like defining moments in your life that have really brought so much darkness. Let's talk about how you found your way into healing. Talk to me about how that came about and the magic of maps, please.
Oh
love
yeah,
to know about
it's time to talk about light now, isn't it?
Yes,
In
I think
all these
so.
darkness times. Yeah, I mean, where it all started, I've always felt like there was something more. I was very much brought up into Christianity, and I was very much Christian in my younger days. But I sort of left that, but that sort of believing that there is something more than this, than that matter in front of you,
Yeah.
and there is some sort of different life out there was sort of, I was aware of it. I basically, as all services, alcohol services or therapies failed for me, and I'm not blaming anybody for it. It wasn't just for me. If somebody find help there, brilliant, go for it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying don't therapies are bad. No, it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
I started to self-educate, basically, because I was thinking, this has to be a reason why I'm like that. I can't allow my life to look like that. It has to be the way out. There must be a way out. So I started to, I think my singing teacher back in days, Julie, introduced me to a school called online school, Conscious Education. Was run by Christopher Duncan. He's a New Zealand or Australian mentor of personal development world. That was a starting point. They taught us about the superconscious. I started to read books. Dave Hawkins, Joe Dispenza. I've started to educate myself of how human brain works and what might be wrong with me. And I came to a conclusion that I'm once programmed from my childhood, and the trauma is very much active, and it runs my life at the moments which I don't want it to happen. That's through Joe Dispenza. Then I found out that there's a person called Colette Stryker, who Christopher Duncan was a student of. So I thought Christopher Duncan was more like a business kind of person trying to, this personal development world, you know. So I thought I'll find out who he trained at. And I found Colette. And Colette is not as commercial. She is kind of like, you have to find her. If you really want, you will find her. But she's not on every single, Facebook ad and... Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I quite like that though. I like there's a little bit more of an air of...
She's more niche.
Yeah.
And I found that she does MAP. And MAP, it was her idea. Not only she did it with a doctor called Dr. Flint. They did a lot of research on superconscious. Basically, it's the part of your mind which is which you're not aware of all the time, because we have subconscious where the programming is, conscious what we conscious about now, how the room feels, how that you're sitting here, there is a pot in front of you and nice tea, which used to be warm. And that's your conscious mind.
Okay.
Yes, and there is all the programming. They represented like an iceberg. There's like a tip of iceberg. There is a water line level, and there is whole massive iceberg underneath that. That's your unconscious mind, and it's so much more, many times stronger than conscious mind.
Yeah.
So how can you do big changes in your life through that little tip of the mountain? Through conscious mind.
Okay.
When you consciously make decision to change, that will last only so long.
Yeah. Okay.
You have to dig deep into that root, that underwater iceberg. And we do it from superconscious mind. And superconscious mind is collective consciousness, I call it. It's... And I started reading about that, and it took me at least 2 years to understand it.
A lot of
to experience it as well. And the superconscious mind is related to that. We all energy, we all connected, and energy has different frequencies as well. So higher frequencies are higher emotions like love, gratitude. And I had a little of that because I was feeling lonely. I was feeling like a victim. So I was sort of on the low frequency. So to raise your frequency, I started to feel grateful for every little thing. And I think that's a key, being grateful.
Gratitude is such a powerful thing, isn't it? There's so much power in that.
You just get on different sort of frequency. Your life unfolds differently. Your day unfolds different way. If you start to feel grateful for sun shining, for that song in the radio, for simply be able to breathe.
Yeah. You can start small with it, can't you? And then you can
And
go
you
so much
naturally more positive flows into your life. You are aligned with the frequency of love, compassion, gratitude, health, abundance. And I thought when I was, at first learning all of that, that's lots of, that's just only like, a cheesy kind of cringe thing to say. But I've truly experienced that.
Yeah.
So that's one part of the healing. And then I started College Striker map. And that superconscious mind can actually heal trauma parts which are under the water with that iceberg. You might put iceberg somewhere on the side of the screen so people can visualize as well. Can heal trauma parts on command, on instructions. Yeah. And superconscious mind is the collective consciousness, we are all part of it, and it all carries the traumas, but also good things as well. All the feelings, all the thoughts as well can be measured. They measure all the thoughts as well. So it's all related to how you think, and how you think is how you feel. And how you think is very much related to what you're carrying in your programming, in unconscious mind. So basically, we are in a field, infinite field of consciousness here and now, and we can't see it because we are all stable. This is matter, that's matter. But actually, quantum physicians looked into the atom and how it is built, and it's built from particles, which is 99.9999999 energy.
Yeah.
And energy can move.
Yeah.
So that's trauma can be moved as well.
Incredible. Now, let's just hold that for a second, because that for me is such a magic concept. The idea of being able to move and take away trauma, that is powerful.
Yeah.
So when you kind of stumbled upon that as like a potential thing, how did that make you feel?
Well, I had to try it.
Yeah,
I had to try it. And in fact, I signed up to a certification course at some point after trying so many maps and see that it's actually tangible difference in my behaviors, in my thinking, in how I feel on everyday basis.
Yeah.
I started to heal. I did the certificate. It took me a year. I've had many maps done on me, and I was kind of on certification program. So that actually was included, that you had to practice on people and they practiced on you, which you studied with. So I've had about, I don't know, maybe 100 maps done on me, half of it on alcohol and on related things to it.
And how did you find at the very beginning of your journey with MAP? How did you find tackling the alcohol subject matter? How easy or hard was that to kind of go through?
Alcohol itself, it's not a problem. No, it's only a substance which you choose to take or not. And the reason I've chosen to take it and abuse it in so many ways, it's a problem. And that was related to me feeling not worthy, not good enough, lonely, sad, depressed. So I work on these things.
Yeah.
So the map session looks like you pick up the subject for that session. Like I was very much working on feeling not worthy, not good enough, not belong.
Yeah.
That was my...
Right, okay. So really going to the root cause of why any of that
So you bring this
thing.
subject on, and the therapist is asking you how it makes you feel. It makes me feel sad, it makes me feel frustrated, it makes me feel isolated. And what would you give a number from 1 to 10, with 10 being very strong, 1 not at all, 0 not at all? What number would you give it? It was for me like 8, 9. Okay, you're closing your eyes, you bring up all the memories when you felt like that and why you may feel like that. And the thing is, the superconscious works with you because the therapist connect with your superconscious mind through the field, because you are connected with the therapist as well through the field, which we can't see. I know it sounds hocus pocus, but it's actually, it is scientifically proven. Some scientists now actually approve the field, the infinite field. Yes.
That's incredible.
They didn't want to let it in for a long time, but some niche scientists actually, there is a tangible evidence of it.
I love that.
And Joe Dispenza talks about it a lot. The reason scientists don't want to let it in, because it would change the world. It would change the control.
Would you think people have a bit of a fear of it? Do you think there's a fear?
I said not about that. Yeah, but it would be so different. So what we were taught for many decades, for hundreds of years, like you were told you are from monkey, right? The evolution. Actually, there's another proof that there is a missing part in the evolution from that monkey. There is a gene which is missing. Actually, this is Human by Design on Gaia, for example. I recommend to watch. Greg Burden talks about it quite a lot, that there is a chromosome in DNA which doesn't fit that theory.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, there's a lot of evidence of it. Again, he's a scientist and he's niche. But they would have to change books in school. They would have to...
It would be rewriting a lot of what we've been told.
I don't know what exactly happening there, but it's not official.
Okay.
I think we're heading towards that, but that might be another 200 years.
Okay.
In previous life, I know. In next life.
In the next one,
But what I was saying, that actually when the therapist is connected to your superconscious mind, you bring up all the memories, the unpleasant emotions, and you're working with superconscious mind, you neutralize this unpleasant emotions. So the memory is still there, but you don't feel bad about it anymore.
Wow.
So at some point, after certain amounts of this map I have done on me, I was looking at my ex-husband shouting at me for something I've done wrong for him. Maybe I've put shoes in the wrong place. He was ridiculous like that. I would normally probably starting to think about drinking because the anxiety would go up and things like that. The ridiculous arguments escalated so much between us that starting from ridiculous thing to big things, bringing up things which I have done 2 years ago, for example, that I would give up at some point and would just start to drink. But I just felt like I have protection field on me and just looked at him, shout. Don't care.
Wow.
It doesn't take me this time.
That's amazing. Wow.
And I was like, this works.
Yeah.
Finally something
feeling
I'm actually not triggered. How this happened?
Yeah.
I remember I was shocked. Normally I would be already in the shop buying my first bottle of wine.
That must have just felt like such a magical, wonderful feeling. Like, I can't even begin, after everything you've gone through and all the trauma attached to all of it.
Years.
That must have just been such a life-changing moment for you.
Wow. I remember this, and I have a picture of that scene in front of me now in my head.
I bet.
Because it felt like freedom. And obviously, I checked it one more time.
I'm going to test this again.
I tested it again, and difficult situation appeared. And I was just taking it calmly. And from then, I've started to evolve even more. I'm looking at problems at different sort of angles. It's
this
like...
sounds a bit like a rebirth to me.
Yes, and that's first song of Fiora.
Okay.
November
So we
11th
kind of come full
last
circle.
year
Yeah.
released
Yeah.
about rebirth, because that's how Fiora came to alive. I've recently realized I'm a new person. I'm a new
Yeah.
person, and so I take a name Fiora. It came to me during the meditation.
Did it? So what does Fiora mean? Can you tell
It's a
us what that
flower.
means?
It's like compared to like a beautiful evolvement.
Yeah.
Also, I believe like everybody carries that flower,
Yeah.
but it might be a seed
I
now,
love that.
and it's growing in you, and it's
Yeah.
still growing in me. I'm still
Absolutely.
having like lots of things to do, but it's exciting, and life is not draining, and I feel free.
Yeah.
The freedom, it's hard to describe even how free I feel.
But also for me, thinking about the idea of freedom for you, freedom from yourself, if that makes sense, like the freedom of
From
the
my
self,
dysfunctional part.
Yeah, that is huge. That's
Yes.
such a big thing.
And the thing is, magic starts to happen when you get on that way of life, because I live that life. I'm not just saying things for other people. I meditate every day. I look at things into different perspectives, like when problems happen, because you can't free yourself from problems.
No.
Life's still happening. What would destroy me 5 years ago, even 3 years ago, I just look, what's the learning from it? What's the lesson? Okay. And I just look inside rather than outside.
Yeah. It sounds like there's a big sense of calm as well attached to all of this. Like you've
Oh,
been
yeah,
talking about
you
this.
just surrender.
Yeah, it sounds very peaceful and very, well, I'm going to be honest, I have had a session with you all too, haven't I now?
Yeah.
And I'm not going to lie, and I'm very open, but I was like, I just don't know. For me, I kept telling myself, I don't think I'll be able to do it properly. Like I kept telling myself,
Yeah,
I
that's
it
your
won't
belief,
work on me.
that's your programming.
Yeah, I won't be able to do it. But actually, after experiencing it, I mean, I was euphoric. I remember getting into the car afters and being there, my partner being next to me and me being like, I don't know what's just happened, but I know there's something magic has just happened. It's going to change my life. Like
Yeah.
I felt that vibe. I felt that, and I felt really high and just really different. I don't know. And I think it's hard to explain, isn't it? You have to do it to fully
Yes.
understand and connect to it. But
You definitely feel different. Straight
powerful.
after, it gets you on higher frequency, because
Yeah.
you're actually releasing the trauma from your parts, because
Yeah.
we all made of parts. We are not only one personality. You have different personality. You are different with your partner. You are
Yeah.
different at work.
Yeah.
Also, there is part of you which wants success, and part of you, I'm not saying you, but
Yeah,
in general,
yeah.
part of you which is scared of success.
Yeah.
So map, join them together. Release the traumatic part of this part,
Yeah.
dysfunctional part. So it joins to the to the main
So
personality. So you feel a lot lighter. You feel happier. And my question is, did you now, since our session, do you notice any changes with your everyday life?
Well, it's so interesting because yes is the answer. Yes, 100%, massively. I mean, I was told by people that I was glowing, that I looked lighter. But it's really interesting, as you were just saying about that force field of almost like that protection, that magnetic kind of energy of just like, I'm in my zone. I'm not going to, this doesn't provoke or initiate feelings and emotion. That's kind of where I'm at the moment. I feel like I have a force field around me, and things that used
And how
to
you reacting to
deeply
things.
trigger me, yeah, or deeply evoke. My go-to was to fight or to protect myself. That doesn't happen. It's stopped. Something has shifted, and I definitely have noticed a change in me. But also how I look back and reflect on things in my past. They don't take me. I can do that safely without me feeling like I'm going back there in the trauma or the
And
sadness
re-traumatize
or any of that
yourself.
is coming back. Yeah, there is like there's a peace, there's a calm, but there's a protection, and there's also a feeling of, I feel like I've evolved. Like
Obviously.
like I'm Anna 2.0. Do you know what I
The
mean?
thing is, evolvement always happens, right?
Yeah.
Just with MAP, it's, if you do it and you meditate and you work on yourself, it's evolving into like loving direction. You become more open, more aware human
Yeah.
being. But, same, if you put your energy into dysfunctional parts, they will evolve as well.
Yeah.
But maybe
you're
not in
feeding
the
it, aren't you?
direction
Yeah.
you want to. So my alcoholism was evolving from one drink to drinking whiskey from the bottle.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I put enough attention into drinking.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And everything
it's so
in
simple,
life.
isn't it? But it actually is. It seems like a really simple thing to do, but it
So-
has so many ripple effects once you practice.
So
that way of
everything
thinking and
evolves,
being.
your mind as well, your consciousness as well.
Yeah, well, it's definitely happened
It's
for
just
me.
consciousness is a bit complicated because we have that massive programming, the computer program running our life. But that can be, people so far thought it's hardwired. Once you have the condition, something, this for life.
Yeah.
But it can be rewired.
Absolutely.
And that's very much like great news.
It is, it's incredible. And could change so many people's lives as well. I mean, for me, I don't know if you've ever seen the film Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind.
And no.
So it's a really good film. I'd recommend it. Jim Carrey, Kate Winslet, and essentially it's about kind of taking away memories, like anything painful from your past, relationships, anything. And I used to say, I wish, because I had, had a difficult childhood. I've had some complex traumas go on. And I used to say, I would do anything for someone to do that to me. I'd do anything for it. It would just be taken out of my head. Go on, get in there, take it all away. And of course, with that, you're going to take away lots, not just the trauma, but you're just stripping your mind of, which is not a good thing to do. But I used to feel that so deeply. And then I did sessions with you, and I remember you kind of likening it to like the files, like, and the and the visuals. To me, I'm a very visual person. I like to, like, when I'm doing something like a therapy, I need to kind of have visuals, and I get such strong visuals with you. And the kind of the pathways, and I just feel like I have done that. I feel like I have not deleted them, but you know what I feel like I've done is I've restructured, I've rescheduled how they are in my head, and actually I've taken away the control and the power that they had over me.
Great.
Which is a very big thing.
That's very good comparison. Yeah, I kind of can relate to how I felt.
Yeah.
It's you are same but different.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
I'm the same person, but I'm just like, I don't have that much like trauma in me, and I'm not easily triggered, and I'm happier. But it's ultimately same person, same Fiora.
Yeah. It's incredible. I love that. So looking back at this like wild, mad, chaotic, beautiful, magical journey that you've been on in your life so far, how do we bring that back around to Fiora, and how Fiora's come about, and the healing and the whole world of Fiora, because it is a world, and it's all very connected.
It definitely is a world, and it's a very authentic world, and it's very freeing as well to be yourself.
Yeah.
So I didn't create anything outside of myself to create Fiora. Fiora is me, basically. And it started with the first song, I Died Once, when I was talking about my rebirth, because I became trauma-free, and it was very much happy days.
Yeah.
And the name Fiora came to my mind during the meditation as I was consciously seeking the name for the artist I wanted to create. And I just heard like voice in my head saying Fiora, and I was like, wow, this is an amazing name.
It's a stunning name.
Yeah.
And it works so well with you.
It suits me. Yeah, I think it suits me. So Fiora is very much authentic, as I said, related to my story. I just basically want to inspire people, because there is so much pain out there, and people suffer because of their own head and how they are wired.
Yeah.
Because of their own beliefs and limitations, which only are carried in the head space, in the unconscious mind, because of the trauma. It doesn't have to be as big as mine. Mine was, kind of...
Yeah, definitely on the more overwhelmingly heavier side of things. But we all carry some level of trauma, whether it's big or small,
MAP even works for like for people who are scared of spiders to just remove that fear. So
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be
Okay.
alcoholism and
Yeah.
drug addiction, but we all have something, and if it affects people's life to the extent that it's actually disturbing, it's worth looking at it, because it's so much easier without this kind of limitations.
Do you think it's something that anyone and everyone could do?
Gratitude. I've started from it, and like, really, as silly as it sounds, just try to find one little thing. It doesn't have to be anything big. Sun shining, your breakfast, a song on the radio, simply ability to breathe, or anything that happened, or for a person which is in your life. Just feel even a little of this gratitude right here in your heart space, and see what happens, basically, because you raising your vibration, your energy vibration, by focusing on positive.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
And I can absolutely testify and relate to that it is life-changing once you start taking that approach. I mean, I've always been a glass half full person, but this is really taking that to like the next level, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's just...
And it's for free as well.
Yeah,
the gratitude
you're right.
is for
Absolutely,
free. You
yeah.
can consciously decide to do that every day. Then I would maybe start meditating as well, that journey within yourself, and just...
So is meditation going to be a part of Fiora and singing? And
yeah, I'm working actually on a series of guided meditations.
Amazing.
Yeah, partly sung, partly spoken.
Okay.
When I'm gonna live improvised,
That will be absolutely
vocalizing,
incredible.
yeah,
The energy in that space will just be mind-blowing. I can just, wow.
just so people can focus on manifesting what they want in their life. That will be like, I'm working with my producer on the music for it and vocals, and I'm gonna play violin on it. And obviously there will be a lot of inspiration there and a lot of good energy there, because amazing people working on it. So that will be both recorded and live on my live gigs. And Fiora is there just to inspire you and move something in you, so you can see that the different life is possible.
I absolutely love that. And you know what? The energy that you give off from your music, from yourself, from healing in general, it's just all so potent, and it all just correlates so beautifully. I can just see how magical all of that will be poured out together.
And just showing people that change is possible.
Yeah.
Nothing is written heavily in stone.
You can rewrite your story anytime.
You can rewrite your story, but you can't pretend it. You have to just change it really authentically and become authentically yourself. And from that space, live your life. Because, authenticity is really, really important. So little people are authentic these days, but actually it's the best way you can be.
Yeah.
And the world doesn't need you to blend in. If you feel like you have a aspect of you which you don't like, that might be actually your superpower.
Yeah.
Just accept it.
We're looking at the ways that you feel about yourself.
You have to shine your own light. That's why I found the bravery to talk about my story, because it's not something I'm proud of, obviously, but it's me.
Yeah, it is you.
And hiding this all my life, it will be a burden.
Yeah.
I just want to be as pure and transparent as I can.
Yeah.
As an artist and as a human.
Gorgeous. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing your beautiful story, and also for just being so beautiful and inspirational.
Oh my God, Anna, you are so beautiful. I mean, we are like complimenting each other. I'm so grateful you invited me to interview me, and
it's just gorgeous to get a glimpse into your world, and it's been lovely to share it with everyone as well. You've all had a little taste of it.
I'm really grateful you are part of this. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.